thrown completely sideways, right? Everyone's like, oh, Boston's going to be at the bottom. They're now like in that top 4 conversation. They're right up there. You know, their map differential's great. It's been much different once we get into the actual games.
I remember, I throw back to, I think it was like a preseason game. It was like Boston versus Shanghai. And Hex looks at me, we're doing predictions on the desk. I was on the desk at that point. Bad idea, of course. He's like, yeah, I think Shanghai definitely going to win this. And I looked at him, I said, mate, you cast in China. Like, you know where this scene's at. You kind of know like what their mindset is, their approach to the game. Like, why would you expect this to be the case? But, you know, like a lot of people like him believe that would be the case. Our expectations have been managed. They've been changed for better or for worse all through the course of the Overwatch League so far. And now, Matt, we find ourselves in a position where either of these teams could take this match, but not for the reason that they're both great, but for the reason that they're both not doing well at the moment.
Yeah, it's an interesting spot we're in. I think some people, players, teams have really like thrived in this environment, right? You know, being here, practicing every day, being around their teammates so much. And then some teams it just hasn't worked out.
Right. It's everything to do with your temperament. You know, I mean, look at the Mayhem, for example. A team that's had to grind it out with, you know, some of the best of them in the bottom 6 of this league. And it's been tough. And they've always kept their head up high. And, you know, I believe they're improving. But for Dallas, it's tough. And you have changes and... Bro, I mean, this whole thing is crazy, though. Like, the ecosystem around it is also...
The expectations for Dallas were much different than for Florida, I think.
What are they now? What do you think? Yeah, that's fair. Well, what are they now?
For Dallas?
Yeah.
I think... For your final 2 stages, I think to make a stage playoff is a realistic goal for the Dallas Fuel.
Okay.
I think they can realistically make that happen. End of season playoffs, you would have to go on a pretty crazy run. You'd have to probably put together like 2 stages of 8-2 or 7-3 to get close.
Right.
And that would get you close. I don't know if it would get you in, but on defense, Seoul Dynasty, they'll be running Gambler on Mercy. That's why you see him in the lineup. Jayhawk will be playing Ana here, so you get to see his fantastic Ana play, and interesting against how good of a Widow. Okay,
Someone spotted Flutter.
All right, well, you'll see AKM switch.
Okay, okay. All right, Dylan. He tells me he's been practicing. He's told us. We've seen this from him before. It wasn't like next level, but let's see if he can make the difference.
You want him in the lineup because 76 in his Widow is so great. You also want to be able to run dive.
Yeah.
This is something he's going to have to do eventually, so you may as well figure it out.
Figure it out one way or another. AKM, good start. They forced the Seoul Dynasty off the high ground. That's exactly what you need to do at this point. Now, they don't chase for any kills, so despite forcing Seoul back, they haven't dived the supports yet at all. So Zephyr walks onto the point. You see Miro also starts to take control of some positioning, and Unco dies to Munchkin on the other ledge here. So, okay, there needs to be some aggression. We've got to go in. AKM, oh no! He doesn't quite nail it, and Flutter hits him on the way down. Again, it's all well and good to have the hero composition, Matt, but you've really got to start getting those kills and putting pressure on backlines.
He'll get one with his self-destruct. This is still doable for the Dallas Fuel. You see Jaehong, though, just getting pocketed by Gambler there. Able to keep him alive. Now, Gambler and Harry Hook in our last map both finishes like over 18k healing. So you can see this. Letta's POV sees the sleeping Jaehong. Wow, that is
great
so
sleep
filthy.
From Jaehong. We expect no less by now, of course.
But, you know, AKM does do a decent job building up towards Dragon Blade, right? I mean, he's already got it. It's pretty much one fight towards it. Now we see if he gets any value out of it.
Munchkin has a pulse, but whoa, a lot of damage had already been done to Unco there. It was very low. So Munchkin barely had to breathe on him to remove him from the fight. So Zenyatta down. Unco is still missing the opportunity to charge up. Here's the problem, right? All of Dallas are playing up on that high ground. All of those heroes have the ability to get up there or traverse that kind of gap, with the exception of maybe Effect for the most part. He can actually come across on the ledge, but Unco will be stuck on the ledge that we're looking at via Munchkin's perspective here. He can't really cross over. So until Dallas can take positioning on the point itself, after they force Seoul Dynasty off the high ground, Unco is very vulnerable on his own.
I think in this next fight, Mitch, what you need to see happen is maybe OGE use his Primal Rage, get in, be a disruptor, force out, whether it's you're going to force out Valkyrie, right? As you know, Jaehong's nano boost. Well, now it's going to be used here on Amiro as he just jumps right down. They've just been isolating Unco as you see Harry just gets obliterated there as well. So I think, look, you lose both those players. This fight is definitely over. AKM will probably drop here as well. You need to get the Valkyrie out of Gambler. Once you do that, let's say you use Valkyrie and maybe Primal Rage to do that, Then you have Transcendence and Blade to use.
This is Soul's bread and butter though, this kind of setup here. Watch how this one goes down. So OG gets put to sleep by J-Hog again. Death taxes, sleep darts from J-Hog.
Self-destruct right underneath his bubble.
Yeah, I mean, it's twofold, right? It zones away, plus it's also going to secure a kill. Soul are very good at using J-Hog to throw in a body grenade and follow it up, you know, with Miro jumping in. Something we've seen him do many times. Pulse bomb stick. Force a primal rage here on OGE, who now has to sort of play away from the rest of his team and try and disrupt the backline in some way.
There's the Blade though, so you did get Valkyrie out. Now let's see if AKM can get anything with his Dragon Blade. The swiping over at Fleta forces him back, doesn't secure a kill.
No, not quite. Okay, and though, again, getting that space though is half the battle at this stage. With Munchkin and Miro being down, Miro gets rezzed up, but they've got that first point there. So Dallas Fuel, persistence pays apparently. And they'll be on the move with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock. Now, they'd love to snowball this. They'd love to push Soul back. But Soul are playing together as a 5-man unit right now. They got a lot of healing. Mickey can't break them on his own.
It wasn't pretty. They were able to do it. A big reason why is obviously you want to run Ana for the Biotic Grenade, use the Sleep Darts, the Nano Boost. Now, the great thing she has in her kit, the issue is her support ultimate's not one that gives a full team sustain. Oh, that is so filthy.
J-Hog, come on! Sleep dart in. Effect's just not even allowed to play Overwatch. A perfect bait. Gambler sets up and knows, I'm sure, that Effect's going to beeline for him, and now Fleta just cleaning up.
It's so nasty.
Soul Dynasty, you know, they're starting to throw some glitter around, Matt. That's the flash, the flare, the finesse we're looking for.
It's a Tracer you're hitting with that, too. It's not like you're hitting like a, you know, a Diva or a
They're doing a Fandango on a sleep and Tracer while he's rizzing.
Yeah, it's going to be 5 sleeps in this game thus far from J-Hog.
Okay, in what has been maybe like 5.5 minutes of game time, if my calculations are correct. So
around there.
About 1 sleep dart a minute, that's nice. We've seen him be on very key targets for very impactful results. Unco down, Munchkin's found him again. It looks like the Zenyatta for the Dallas Fuels had to play solo for much of this round so far. And OGE can only use Primal Rage to escape. That's when you know you're not getting your value out of that Winston ultimate.
I like the change from AKM, though, over to Sombra. This is a hero he plays at a high level. I know his Genji still working on it. No, his Genji, I mean, even he would tell you his Genji, he's still working on it, right? I mean, it's not something, it's something they need just because you want him in the lineup in some games over Rascal, and he's going to have to play it.
Oh,
so,
oh dear.
A filthy shot.
Trying to, you know, Mickey trying to get some damage done from the bridge of the Starship Enterprise, and that is the Borg.
But
Sorry, big fella.
I think AKM, though, with the Sombra, can put some more pressure on Fleta, maybe get some pressure onto the supports in the backline, because they really haven't been able to do it this far. It's really been Soul Dynasty's dive, especially on Unco, just finding where Unco is and taking him out right away. It's been so devastating.
Unco doesn't have to play on his own now in this part of the map, and he won't. He'll just sit back behind the rest of the Dallas Fuel. But he's still going to be a target nonetheless. Munchkin will be looking for him. Like, look at this. Look at this. He's got no friends. He's got no help. Somebody give him a heal. I think Harry Hook realizes that and ducks back, but that Transcendence was forced out of Unco. That's the only way I could stay alive. And now at 15 seconds left in the round, it's starting to get a bit dicey, to quote my friend Semler. Mira's going to jump in here, has himself the nano boost, and Unco now trying to get back. Mickey body blocking the doorway like the bouncer that he's known to be, but OGE has fallen to the hands of Fleta. The Widowmaker still doing damage over the point. Gambler off to the side, and Mickey, all he can do is bunny hop in the direction of the payload. Dallas Fuel put under lock and key on that second part of the map.
Yeah, that is set up, though, by the pressure that Munchkin puts down, forces both supports to go back there and deal with him. Not able to provide any healing to OGE. You wanted to res AKM because he's getting close to that EMP, and then it falls apart for Dallas.
Frustrating for Dallas, nonetheless. And yeah, I think compositions and where they're using their Genji definitely doesn't look like that's their natural look. Hey, we're back on camera because I want to do something very quickly. Yeah. OGE's come in now. This is his debut. And I want to see what Johnny on the spot has to say about this. You know, our resident, you know, ex-pro tank player.
Yeah.
Be very interested to see what you big fella had to say about that.
I don't know what you think, Mitch, but I figured it wasn't worth watching AKM's Genji. So, you know, I'll stick to the,
the main tank. Man, come on.
No, but...
Let AKM live a little bit.
It was pretty good. It was pretty, so overall, I think that OG has been very aggressive so far. And I don't think he's really found his stride with Mickey yet. We can see that OG, he tries to shut down the Mercy Resurrections a lot of the times and jumps in really aggressive. Mickey hasn't been there with the defense matrix, so a bit too aggressive, and Mickey needs to sync up with him.
I mean, definitely like a symptom, you know, of a new player, a new pickup coming into these teams. So thanks for that one, Johnny. We'll keep an eye on that now. I think well, it'll probably be good just to try and take a closer look at how the fuel is synergizing between those two tanks. And look, we've said that before. When you're Mickey and you're playing now with a different tank, you played with on this team. You played with Coco, you played with Taimu. And you played with OG.
You played main tank yourself.
Exactly, you had to play main. So again, like trying to get a feel for the flow of your main tank must be a little bit tricky. And then let's not even talk about the communication that must occur there as well. Given that Mickey is bilingual but speaks English in this sort of team.
And I think it will take time. To Johnny's point, you need to get on the same page with your Winston in just terms of situational play. This type of situation, do you want to continue to go in? Do you want to peel back? And right now, you're not seeing it done.
There you go. Fletter only falling so far to effect. I mean, given the narrative we tend to spin up about the Dallas Fuel, I think that's consistent for once. Right, let's see it. Fletter now. Let's see how Fletter does it. So he dives in, but instead of just pushing Dallas off the high ground, he tries to follow up in some of these kills. Gets close, but the loss of Gambler might give them pause for thought here. But Fletter now just needs to back away. Good hold from Dallas. They've always looked a little bit better on this map in defense.
Yeah, they lose Zephyr as well, so you lose the Diva to go in there, try and make a play. Jaehong playing a Lucio. Don't see that too often. Usually he's over on Ana or Zen.
Gambler played a lot of Lucio back in the day, but...
You want the Mercy, though.
Yeah.
Gambler is, I think Gambler is picked up to this team for his Mercy play.
Jaehong's a no mercy kind of guy now. Saw him last round. Fletter now, Dragon Blade. Speed of no mercy. It's going to be nasty. AKM taken down, and yep, Harry Hook deleted from the game. We'll see what the response is from Dallas. They've still got some players up who can do damage. Jaehong just trying to boop OGE away. And we're talking about playing alone. There's not much he could have done about that one. He was set upon by the entirety of the Seoul Dynasty, and they'll have 4 players to sit on the point and capture this one very quickly. It will be Effect will be able to run on very briefly if he has the blink charges. I think he does.
Yeah. No, they'll be able to challenge this. I like that. Mickey's got a self-destruct here to use as well. It's going to be a tactical visor for AKM.
Mickey got pulse bombs. It's going to be tough to keep him up, man. AKM's taken down by the self-destruct of Zephyr. Now there's going to be one from the Dallas Fuel. Won't catch Seoul Dynasty out for that one. They're a little bit too canny. They return to the point after the Diva remix, and now it's time to do it all again. Miro taking a lot of damage in the Transcendence. This is in effect for the Dallas Fuel, but he outlasts it. Goes for the Primal Rage. Harry Hook gets smashed, and now he's looking for Rocco as well. There's nothing the man can do. Please, I'll give him my orcs. Take anything. No. Miro only wants his life. Sitting on top of the Bionic field of AKM, so again, he's going to be out-healed in that case. AKM wins out the duel and finds Zephyr after de-suiting him. Fletter returns to the fight now. It's going to be a 2v2 over the point. Effect and OGE versus Gambler and Fletter. But Fletter has the healing and the Dragon Blade now. OGE's got to get out. Effect can stall here easier. 1v2, and there's time for Mickey and OGE to return.
Yeah, they'll get back onto the point. Effect is able to keep this one alive. He's able to kill 3. But Fletter with this blade, trying to put it away in Seoul Dynasty's favor. Comes on in, AKM shuts him down.
He eats a Helix Rocket like it's going out of fashion, but Munchkin and Jaehong are back on the point. Self-destruct there, no attempt. It was Zephyr getting knocked out of his mech, should I say. And he's taken down quickly. AKM, another Bionic field to keep him alive, but there's a lot of damage this time. He had healing from Mercy, Zenyatta, and himself, and he still couldn't outlast. Harry Hook trying to get away. He had an Orb of Harmony, but it's not going to be enough. Now it's Effect on the point. It's just him. Recalls onto the payload to dash out. Mickey couldn't set foot on there, and Seoul will eventually take point A.
Yeah, Effect was relying on Mickey to get a touch there on the point, but as good of a stall as he possibly could have got there for the Dallas Fuel, but see Seoul Dynasty pushing on forward. AKM getting really weak. He's handled by Munchkin.
I gotta say, AKM has hit 2 disgusting Helix Rockets on Fletter to claim him in the last couple of fights. Issue with that being that the margin of error for Dallas Fuel is very, very, very slim.
Well, I mean, Dallas Fuel, they'll have both support ultimates and a tactical visor. You could open things up with Effect, putting down some damage on a Zephyr, landing a Pulse Bomb, get him demeched. Fletter will end up with a Dragon Blade in this next fight. Just how they defense that. This is a big pick. They got to go on this.
Yep, he almost had Valkyrie, and now this is when they really want to take advantage. Munchkin might be able to pull the linchpin out from this one, though. He's flanked all the way around, so he's expecting Seoul to retreat, but because Dallas are pushed so far forward, it actually allows him to embed himself even deeper behind Dallas Fuel without being noticed. There's no one that's going to spawn back in from Dallas either, so Munchkin will be undetected until at least the Dallas Fuel player dies, respawns, or goes back and somehow finds...
Well, what he's waiting is for AKM and Unko to get set up on the high ground. Because usually you would put the 76 up on the high ground.
Yeah, these two played together since 2 years ago.
So what's going to happen eventually, I would think, is that Miro is going to dive up onto that high ground. You know, some kills going in favor here. Pulse Bomb goes over the side, so maybe Miro would have jumped up on the high ground and you would have been able to get both those players, but don't connect with the Pulse Bomb on anything.
The assassination doesn't pay off. Munchkin actually did find Unko, but he got resurrected by Harry Hook regardless, so now Dallas Fuel hunkering down, battening the hatches. And they have 1 minute and 50 seconds to keep Seoul at bay. Now, once again, we'll see AKM and Unko take to the sky. So Unko in this next fight will Transcendence and drop down if his team are threatened, but he will try and play together with AKM as much as possible. That's a recall there from Effect. He gets out scot-free.
OG has his Primal Rage, so look to see him jump right on top of Jaehong, try and pressure him out. You know that they have Transcendence by this point in the game.
OGE was in a 1v1 versus Zephyr. That's a Primal Rage there, but that was actually from Miro. The OGE pop his if required, but he's sitting in a Transcendence right now. Both teams have popped those in the other ultimates. Oh, Harry Hook can get away. Flutter chases down with a switch strike. He's got himself free. Are you kidding me? He's looking for more, but I think he's had enough. Over engorged. Gluttony is a sin, but Flutter doesn't really seem to care. That was a very quick passage of play, and when Dallas Fuel had that support on, it didn't matter. Oh god!
I mean, it's set up by Miro using Primal Rage, jump right on top of Unko, force out that Transcendence, use your own Transcendence, keep everybody alive, make sure Flood is alive to use the Dragon Blade. Its effect will get on the payload. This one's not over yet.
Another whiff Pulse Bomb from Munchkin means he fails to pick up AKM. Second time in a row. Now the Dallas Fuel getting aggressive. The payload's getting awfully close and they need to keep this stalled out. Effect deals with Miro. Now the engage is cut very, very slim for the Seoul Dynasty. And it's a bunch of squishy targets that could definitely use Big Brother Winston around to shield them. Munchkin will have to opt for the health pack in the meantime. Mickey's taking a lot of damage, but Harry Hook now has a Valkyrie and AKM the tactical visor. Flatter immediately goes into deflect mode, but Gamble's not going to be so lucky. He gets himself two. He gets the D-shoot as well, and that should easily do the job. And Seoul Dynasty only have 7 seconds to get back to the payload now. Flatter and Munchkin are playing inside the building, and right there you can see that Mickey chased him down. Munchkin's missing. Miro drops in. It's just him for the time being. Flatter needs to get there, but no! Flatter's going to run at this one. He's got no choice but to switch strike at the payload. He's chunked out. He's down. Overtime still ticking through. Gambler threw himself in there, but it wasn't enough. Effect gets picked up by Jaehong at long range. Now the Transcendence was going to be brought onto the payload. That means Zephyr can hang around. More time bought for the rest of Seoul to rejoin this one. Munchkin's forced to recall and Zephyr's looking low. Desuited and dispatched. Jaehong coming in from the left-hand side, also down. Munchkin attempting to do the same. The stall is still continuing, but if Seoul get off this payload for any reason, that overtime's going to tick down, and it does! Yes! Now we have ourselves a series. It's one apiece going into half-time. The characteristic defensive dominance of Dallas finally resurfaces here. You'll love to see it.
Yeah, they're able to hold on. You see Mickey all smiles there. He's shaking. He's like, I don't know how that happened. But the Dallas Fuel able to get a win here in map number 2. Tie us up going into the half. It's a big map number 2. Mitch, it's something we don't see too often. You know, Dallas gets out killed in this one, 50-35, and they're able to win it.
Seoul just couldn't keep that aggression going at the right-hand time. AKM coming in. Tactical visor was big. Jaehong doing Jaehong things. We'll love to see it. We'll get more of it after the halftime break. Don't go anywhere. This is the Overwatch League.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omened by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.
所有人快穿过缺口，我们该走了。我们得立刻出发，前往撤离点。
我们还真是低调。
所有人快穿过缺口，我们该走了。我们得立刻出发，前往撤离点。
我们还真是低调。
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Seoul Dynasty came out strong on Anubis, but after a crazy fight on Numbani, somehow the Dallas Fuel have managed to tie this baby up one apiece. Welcome back. It's Puckett with the boys. We got Sideshow. We've got Reinforced. He's from England. He's from Sweden. Let's get that out of the way. Now let's talk about some video games. Johnny, in this matchup coming into today, we mentioned the history of these squads. And after watching game number one, I was feeling like, oh, maybe we have overhyped this.
Yeah, so did I think, actually. I thought that Seoul Dynasty, they were looking so hot. OGE and Mickey, they couldn't really figure it out. But as Numbani progressed, I mean, both teams held point B on Numbani.
They always do
that
this.
ever happen?
They always do this. Dallas Fuel step up as it goes on. They feel like the rivalry. I swear they always step up when it matters.
Remember, stage one, they tied, it finished 2-1. Barely finished with just 3 points on the board. This one, I hope it goes to a game 5. But let's start with game number 1 right now as we take ourselves back to Volskaya Industries. So we started this one off. Munchkin popping off on the tracers like, oh, we don't miss Bunny. Munchkin's doing the work. Flooded's looking pretty good. What were you guys seeing as this game developed?
Well, it did at the beginning when Dallas Fuel were attacking. Looked like Effect was going kind of crazy. He was making a lot of plays. Got to be said, he died quite a lot, but he was getting picks when they needed to and kind of set Dallas up for a couple of decent win conditions. But Seoul is so good on these second points of kind of just delaying the B fight and using those spawns to their advantage. It took a long, long time before Dallas were able to cap in overtime. And that's why Seoul are unbeaten on Volskaya.
Yeah, and Seoul Dynasty as well. They played around this Widowmaker so well and flat out managed to find the picks.
He's so good.
Yeah, he's so good on this Widowmaker. So I feel that Dallas has struggled a bit going aggressive with their new tank and actually contest this Widowmaker.
Very strong Widow play in game number 1. But Johnny, we were focused not on the DPS, more of the tanks backstage. Yes. What were you keeping an eye on?
Well, I was keeping my eye on OG. I mentioned him on map 2, of course. But I got a illustration, and I'll break it down to you why Seoul Dynasty walked away with the win. So we got a man advantage here for the Seoul Dynasty, of course. We can see that Flera, he has this angle on the Widowmaker, and he's managed to find a pick onto AKM.
It's a good angle.
Yes, exactly. But Dallas Fuel, they have the Mercy, so as we scroll this forward, they will get the rest onto AKM, so we will be back to a 6-on-6. Now, OG, I think there's some communication issues here because they managed to get the rest onto AKM, and then out of nowhere, OGE, he will pop his Winston bubble right here. So he's using his cooldown, right? But then afterwards, we're actually going to see that the Dallas Fuel will get a pick themselves onto Gambler. It's Effect top right here, and he's going to get a pulse bomb kill onto Gambler. So how is OG going to react? He wants to kill all this space and contest Flera. They're up 6 versus 5 now. And now Mickey, he's going to follow, but he's going to go this way. And so the tank duo, they're not really synced at all. And as we play this one out, we can see that this opens a window of opportunity for Seoul to instantly kill OG. No defense matrix for him whatsoever. Ri Hong popped the Transcendence, and this is the window of opportunity for the Seoul Dynasty. And this is why they walk away with the win on the Volskaya Industries.
Now, having said that, though, I have been impressed with OGE when he lowers the tempo a little bit. When they're actually just poking at the beginning of Volskaya A, I thought he did a good job of being able to control the space. And a lot of the time, especially when AKM was playing on the Soldier, instead of going for these deep dives with Effect, he kind of leaves Effect to do his own thing and jumps back to Peel when the threat comes on. So I think he's attempting to play a number of styles, but the aggressive one seems to be the most flawed out of the styles that he plays.
It takes more coordination, right?
Yeah, it demands more coordination to play aggressive. So I like the Soldier coming out. It is a bit more passive. The Winston doesn't have to leap as far. So I kind of dig the Soldier. Play more AKM Soldier.
Okay, so it's Seoul Dynasty. Pretty convincing on that second point. They lock up Volskaya. Now we're loading up Numbani. And you remember back that stage 1 matchup? Well, the tie was on Numbani. Neither team were able to get the upper hand over each other. Early on, I was pretty impressed with what we were seeing out of Fleta and Ryu Jaehong on the defense. In fact, I looked over and I said, is Jaehong going to be our player of the match? He's sleeping everybody and just shutting down the fuel on their attack.
As per usual.
And that's what makes him so good, right? When Diana was in style, in vogue, Jaehong was untouchable. There was nobody like him in the world that was able to play Anna and get so much value. She's such a clutch hero, and Jaehong excels there. We haven't really seen too much of that. Anna hasn't been in the meta that much, and Jaehong, you know,
he still got it.
Yeah, he really does still have it.
Can you guys explain what's happening here, though? This is the last 15 seconds of the game.
Yes, and so when AKM is getting dived here, the Dallas Fuel are so good at setting OGE back in weird angles. So OGE was setting up in very aggressive positions, but then they wouldn't Seoul Dynasty just walk past him and they don't scout it. So OGE is able to get in their backline, cause distraction, and then jump back to the rest of his team. So they save the cooldown because they're not jumping with their Winston aggressively, and instead OGE is able to jump back to his team and peel for AKM, and then AKM gets a really nice tag visor off at the end. And Seoul Dynasty found it really difficult to get around that bend on Numbani, just because they weren't scouting out where people were early on, I think.
So who's had the biggest impact for the Dallas Fuel? Who's keeping them in this series so far in your eyes?
Well, it has to be AKM and the Soldier, I think, because they're the guy they're playing around, right? He's playing the Soldier, he's the threat to the Seoul Dynasty. So in many ways, if they can't kill AKM, the Seoul Dynasty will struggle, so you gotta shut down AKM.
All right, well, that is going to do it for our halftime coverage. Our players about ready to retake the stage. We do want to mention, though, every single show we got a signing at the end of the event. And, of course, tomorrow's signing is going to be with the Florida Mayhem. One special treat for everyone that gets tickets today. Sideshow is offering up his cast for signatures. If you come out here, you get a chance to put your name on Sideshow's cast.
It's absolutely clean. Why would you offer this? Why would you put me forward?
That is the furthest thing from clean in this venue. Absolutely.
It's got no signatures on, but you can come and sign this if you turn up tomorrow. So
come out here, draw on his arm, break his other arm. We'll get a new cast. We'll figure it out. That's going to do it for halftime coverage. Tomorrow's action kicks off at 4 p.m. Pacific. Make sure you get your tickets before then. We'll be back with Game 3 after this. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
所有人快穿过缺口，我们该走了。我们得立刻出发，前往撤离点。
我们还真是低调。
所有人快穿过缺口，我们该走了。我们得立刻出发，前往撤离点。
我们还真是低调。
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Things are finally getting competitive here at the Blizzard Arena as we're all tied up in the showdown between the Dallas Fuel and the Seoul Dynasty 1-1. I gotta say, I got a little feeling of warmth and some butterflies seeing Jae Hong back on that Ana sleep darting effect. There's just something about it. It just brought me back to the old days. Hopefully we get to see a lot more of that as the match progresses. But speaking of the match, at the end of the match, for all of our all-access viewers at home, I want to give you a friendly reminder that we'll be doing another AMA today. And today, it is with Fleta, the man, the myth, the meta himself. So all you guys who've been wondering what makes Fleta so good, make sure you stick around till after the broadcast to find that out. And guys, it's been an exciting match. We got a whole another half to go. So let's go ahead and get back into the action with our casters, Uber and Mr. X.
Thank you very much, Malik. And yes, I've been enjoying those all access
Yeah.
AMAs actually. I guess they're, excuse me, less like ask me and then I answer than more like I have a list of questions that I'm going to answer kind of thing, but still worth checking out.
qualifies as an AMA.
Yeah, exactly. Qualifies an AMA,
Still
I
qualifies.
guess. You can't ask him anything because you can only ask him. He's only answering what's on.
Rascal come in for AKM, as now you confuse everybody with all access. I watched the one with Nomi. I thought that was great. I saw the one with Ark as well. Jake 2's has done one. Those are the three that I know of that I've seen. Really enjoyed them. Wakid comes in for Munchkin as well.
Genji.
But I definitely don't want to miss the Flutter one.
No, that's going to be good. Yeah, so we're keyed in, so Genji Junkrat might be a thing. Matt, I mean, I don't know how I overlooked this, to be honest. We were talking previously about, we're talking about all the tanks that Mickey's had to play with, I guess, as Steven. We've got XQC as well, so that's like 5.
Yeah.
That's like the 4 or 5 like tanks, or like when he's had to be the main tank and play with another off tank. So, yeah, I'm sure I upset a bunch of Felix fans out there. I didn't mean to do that. You know, it's tough to count all the previous tank players with a few on a hand, but hey, this one's looking pretty good so far. I'm digging it. Now Rascal comes in. I like it.
It has to be tough for Mickey. It's like every 2 weeks, like Tasmo's coming in. He's like, hey, we just got this guy. He's a main tank. It's like, oh, Taimu's now the main tank. Like
it's literally the speed dating of like tanking off pairings. Everyone just sits at a table and they got a minute each.
All right, this is kind of cool. So Fleta will play
That's Para. Yep.
And Wakid will play Junkrat. I was really looking at the other side, making sure that's what we were seeing.
This is freaky.
Usually it's going to be Rascal who would play Mei. This time it'll be Effect who plays Mei, Rascal play Junkrat. So this comp is actually pretty decent against what Soul's running. You'd usually be like, oh, well, there's no hit scan to get rid of Fleta. But this comp for Dallas is so bulky and it forces fights on the point.
And Effect can just block off one of the exits for like a good deal of time, and they only have to deal with one, so it's impossible to flank them, which is so sick.
And just to remind you guys, this is not the Mei that is on live that just got patched yesterday.
No, so she doesn't cleave with her freeze.
Yeah.
That would be...
As,
Jaehong gets put on ice. Expect season peak out there.
As we will definitely be seeing that Mei, I think, a little bit more often, as the one on live was pretty sick.
Yeah, we're all Mei mains now, Matt.
I wouldn't go that far.
Let's get you that sweet, sweet SR, my dude. So, yeah, so obviously Mei Junkrat, very close quarters, right? It's a composition that begs for Soul to challenge Fleta. It's tough for him because he can't really interact. You see how we found that cheeky little angle between those two buildings? Yeah, so we can actually shoot at the point. Just kind of requires him to be a long way away and do a lot more prediction with his rockets.
And watch to see if he drops down to land a rocket barrage. Effect like put a wall up right in front of him, try and blow him up.
And it'll kill him, yeah.
Yeah, no defense matrix here. Just really OG shield. I guess Mickey's body.
Kind of a riptide here.
Like this.
Oh, okay, or he just goes and gets a kill on Rascal immediately. OGE's shield barely managed to withstand that. And honestly, the Blizzard was fine. The placement was good. But 3 players for Dallas Fuel were extinguished in a heartbeat, so they couldn't capitalize on the crowd control that they created.
Yeah, it's tough in that situation. Effect will play McCree, so you're going to have a direct counter
To the far?
this far up in the sky.
Trying to smack Junkrat as well.
It's nice to see Effect play some other heroes, and we see him play Tracer so often, we forget like how good his Widow is, his McCree, 76 as well. He plays so many of those hit scan heroes, such a high level.
Guy's just an aim god. The practice he puts in is pretty incredible. So, OGE, couple steps back. Perfect timing with that self-destruct to make sure no one is affected. Ah, it's an Earth Shatter. Now, if OGE Earth Shatters in the woods and no one's there to see it, does he really Earth Shatter?
No.
That's the question. Well, still managed to win the fight out here
They
for the
still get the point.
That's right.
It's the objective, right?
That's exactly right. Well, Wakid might have something to say about that for the time being, but Dallas have flipped it over and have control. Fleta peeking in with the rockets. OGE doesn't know where to go. Left, right. Doesn't really matter at this stage. And the obnoxious biotic orb bounces around the point. Rascal found Jaehong and actually stole the point out for like 3%, so that's something.
Gets him off the point a little bit.
Yep. I like this comp from Dallas Fuel. It's a composition that's far more tailored to this map than a lot of others we see. A lot of teams just go for robust, overall good comps. This is very Nepal Village.
And I like how they've committed to this by continuing to fight on the point. There'll be sound barrier from both sides. Miro getting very low with Primal Rage. Yes, back out. They gotta watch for Fleta with his Rocket Barrage again.
Has to be big. No, it's gonna be the flash, and Rascal finishes him off there with the remote mine. Now Seoul have to back away. They can't afford to hang around here. They get Jaehong getting staggered there. He was almost home and hosed. He was back through that doorway, but Effect removes him like William Tell. So now he'll set up on the high ground with Rascal. One fight for Seoul. They have a Doomfist here, and why not? You've got to go for instant burst potential, pick potential in this fight. Miro's already very low on health. Gambler stunned up. Nice, he's a flashbang. Multiple people caught that one. Flatter, they're going to get away from this one. The Deadeye finds him. And that's it. Easy as you like, and Dallas Fuel will take Village. Okay.
So you got Effect with 10 limbs, 4 final blows there, shoot 51% on McCree.
Solid.
But you know, a hero we see a little bit more coming in that I really like is Moira. This Unko puts together a crazy game in terms of healing. You know, 7,500 in the first round. That's good for 60% of the healing over on the Dallas Fuel. As Moira provides a lot, right? You know, decent amount of hero damage. You're able to, you know, fight off a little bit in the fact that the damage that you put down also turns into healing for yourself. You know, just a lot of survivability. Really good in those close quarter tank comps.
Yeah, well, what's great about the Bardic Orb on healing mode is it travels faster than the damage orb, slower, sorry. So you can kind of walk along with it, but obviously like the damage orb is a lot faster moving. So it's important if you're trying to use an orb from a long way away as well. You might want to get a bit closer.
You can always like, on your own, right? Throw the healing orb down and then do damage to the opponent and get like double the effects as well. Harry Hook, yep, he's not going to live very long there. It's,
living up to his name there, unfortunately.
Yep, gets hooked in by Zephyr. OG was already weak. This is not looking good for the Dallas Fuel. See there, Mickey's, he's like, what happened? He's like, we just began. In fact, he's dead.
Okay.
So, Soul taking the point. Is that first fight, a little bit of a statement coming out here. Not taking the Dallas Fuel light anymore.
Rather similar compositions here. Effect said in that round table with,
Fisher.
Yeah. Fisher said he thinks Shorefall's the best, and Effect goes, watch out. What happens when I start playing Widowmaker? Well, here's your answer. See if it makes a difference. Unko, I mean, he didn't even really know where that shot would have come from there.
What do you do?
You kill Flatter. Hopefully, you know, Effect just got smacked into next Tuesday. Okay.
All right, so he
has an imprint of Flatter's like hand on his face.
He's got a 67% scoped accuracy, 67% crit accuracy thus far on this map.
Okay, that's
not bad.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. Okay, so Wakina's just gonna sit back. Junkrat's very good at killing people when he can't see them. Kind of like pin the tail on the donkey, except it's a grenade and you're sticking it up the other team's nose.
You go one way and it's Fleta. You go the other way, it's Zephyr and Wakina. So what do you decide to do? And even if you go the other way, goes down. Even if you go the other way, I mean, you're going to be running into the Roadhog, and there's so much damage is going to come down. Then Fleta can just change his position, right? Get a little bit further on the bridge and just poke at you across. So.
Fleta has 78% critical accuracy right now. Yeah. It's like he can't shoot anything but heads.
Well,
I mean, he's killing Unko a lot. I mean, which is obviously slightly easy hitbox, but.
Right, so on Orisa and Mickey on Roadhog.
Dallas may not even get their ultimates charged up this round. Rascal might have a Riptire.
Yeah.
Seoul Dynasty are already on their second round of ultimates here with a Riptire hooked in. That might be the opening here. Rascal picks him up, but it's responded straight away. Mickey's down. Still, they have the maintain. The Orisa's still there for Dallas. Look at him. Drop straight to the point.
They're going to res this.
Now, but Rascal can really wreck them with a Riptire and a couple good grenades. Yeah, he's going to do this. Let's see if this Riptire can get in unscathed. Oh, he's got two. No, it's actually Wakit's Riptire he's taking down.
Better.
I think he'll take that any day of the week. Yeah, keeping his team alive. Dallas captured the point here at 99%. Not a moment too soon. Rascal gets caught out playing on that higher ground, and Zephyr's trying to muscle his way in with the whole hog. Apparently not enough meat on the bones. No, the apple was in the mouth. And Zephyr's going to move forward here. Mickey's just trying to hide around the corner, then dashes straight into the Transcenders to try and stay alive, and it works out. He's hanging around. You can see off on the left-hand side, Harry Hook is keeping himself very scarce behind that pillar, because even a Valkyrie, who could be dead immediately to flatter. Jaehong on the point, gets a face full of explosive. Dallas have a chance here to take a breath. Infrasight's active here for Seoul. They need to be careful still.
Yeah, Mickey just trying to get in the way, use that defense matrix, eat up some of those shots that come in from Fleta to give Effect a fighting chance here. But nobody on the point for Dallas just yet. OG coming off spawn. He does have a supercharger, so we'll see if he can get a use out of it here. That's going to be a big pick to open things up.
Well, Effect is getting dumped on in this matchup against Fleta. He's not hitting any of these shots. He's not winning the 1v1. So, yeah, of course, Fleta gets to do this as much as he likes. Pucci just wrecking it right now. OGE going down to him. Zephyr gets involved in the cleanup of the fight. That's pretty comfortable here. And that should make it even Stevens here. Uncode, not much to be done. One more shot and he'll be done. That was gross.
Yeah, just insane Widowmaker play there from Fleta. So I thought they may have been able to turn it around when Rascal comes up with that Riptire, because he's using his Riptire, a handshake there.
We handshake out here, boys.
Gambler,
we sold.
I didn't catch who that was.
We're the idol boys. We don't high five. We shake hands. Let's see what Wakid did in this round now. I mean, he was pretty filthy on that Junkrat. We've got some footage of him. And again, yeah, Junkrat does things like this. Makes my stomach churn sometimes, but good flank from him. No one was ready for it.
Yep, just comes right back down to the point, finishing off some of those players. Okay, this is what I really want to see from the Dallas Fuel. I hope they decide to run this. This will be a dive coming out of the Dallas Fuel. Harry Hook will be playing Lucio, Rascal on Genji, Effect on Tracer. You would think this is their best dive lineup that they have. You would think, looking at these players, this would be like devastating. So let's see if they're able to pull it off.
It should be their best foot. Everyone's kind of on their ideal
pick,
hero.
right?
Okay. Dallas Fuel fans, this is where it begins. Effect already down though to Fleta. Camera on the backhand side. And Harry Hook's down to Zephyr. Miro just charging off course there. Not the ideal start for the Dallas Fuel at all. Again, it was just a couple of picks that forced Dallas Fuel to give up positioning. Soul were able to stream onto the point. When you have a Reinhardt, you have a man advantage and you have control of the point, the higher ground ostensibly. Dallas, need 6 players to contest, otherwise there's no point.
Some changes come in here for the Dallas Fuel. So Uncle will be playing Moira.
I can hear Effect screaming into the mic. Boys, shut up. I just want to 1v1 Fleta.
I like how they made some changes though. They're not going to go at it again. Rascal will be playing Farah here up in the sky, trying to put some pressure onto Fleta. Harry Hook will be tagged to him as Mercy. You changed everything up here for Dallas, so you're pretty far behind on ultimates.
Okay, I can dig it though. If you do enough damage, Matt, that's not going to be an issue.
Yeah.
Rascal's just pounding the point and Wakid is forward already to Effect. We'll see what Fleta can do here. He has a flashbang cooldown available and he's getting damage on the Rascal. Consider Harry Hook's just spread eagle like a skydiver.
It's a really nice hook from Mickey, brings Zephyr in, and they're able to just burst him down. So this comp doing work for the Dallas Fuel.
So you're watching Fleta here and he's not doing anything wrong, right? He's getting good damage, but this is the McCree curse. You quite often have like highest amount of damage on your team, but like the lowest final blows, or just eliminations. So he's getting damage done, but Soul were already in disarray. And when you're McCree, you kind of shoot whatever's on the screen. Focus fire, not always a thing, especially if you're playing from an off angle to the rest of your team. So, I mean, the accuracy was great from Fleta. The rest of Soul just got kind of crunched.
So here's an interesting change. Jaehong will play Ana here. You can use the Ana, the Biotic Grenade, to force Harry Hook down from the sky, because Unko is obviously going to have to use some of that healing to provide the rest of his teammates on the ground. That'll be a charge from both Reinhardts. There'll be a Deadeye that comes through any Riptire. They know if he connects with that Biotic Grenade, all that healing from Unko goes out the window.
Yeah, so Rascal is the biggest problem for the Soul Dynasty at any one point on this map right now. Farah, very easy for her to get easy damage on this point, and she doesn't have to put herself in a vulnerable spot to do so. She can kind of fly around. So Fleta trades in a Deadeye for the Farah pick quite happily. And you see Jaehong there helping out. Rascal gets picked off from long range. Again, McCree doesn't do much. He has a lot of damage fall off. He's no longer like a railgun. But Jaehong doesn't have that problem. So you throw in his damage with Fletters and you have extreme long-range kills on Farahs.
This one of the scariest things when you're playing Farahs is just hear like those ticks from the Anashan connecting with you.
I hate it. Miro, a respectful step back, waiting for OG to overextend, hoping for a big Earth Shatter. Coalescence through. Miro to back up. That shield's going to get broken. Oh, he gets around a corner before OG could get the Earth Shatter. And now that's a big one coming from Miro, at least 2 for him. And OGE gets charged up against the wall. Miro, nano boost. So damage reduction, very important right now. Great peel from the Ana here on the side of the Soul Dynasty. Jaehong giving over that nano boost, and that's going to give the map over to Soul Dynasty. Sometimes peel is more than positioning and healing. I love the use of that. And you see Miro was in a position to wreck it, Ralph.
Yeah, another close game between these two teams. Towards the end, saw Mickey try and use that whole hog to push back Miro and then land that big Earth Shatter. They're not able to do it. Then Miro comes back with the effects of the nano boost. The Earth Shatter of his own closes it out for Soul.
Okay,
Signs of brilliance for the Dallas Fuel so far. I think it's safe to say. We saw the ideal comp, with everyone on their best heroes, Rascal, Genji, Mickey, Diva, etc. Didn't quite work out. It's going to take more than just the right heroes. It takes time. Let's see if this next map, there's any more to be brought. Nice Australia jersey, bro. I dig it.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
所有人快穿过缺口，我们该走了。我们得立刻出发，前往撤离点。
我们还真是低调。
所有人快穿过缺口，我们该走了。我们得立刻出发，前往撤离点。
我们还真是低调。
Get hype, boys and girls, because we're jumping into it right now.
That's a huge one there from Mickey. It's all too easy for this man. Munchkin having a fantastic fight there. An effect brings out the blade. Flatter, it's skeet shooting. Unbelievable. Oh, it's over.
Hello, welcome back. This is Zoe. Once again, for the last time tonight, and I went on a little Sherlock Holmes mission once more, as the desk has been wondering, where is Zumba? They knew he's not going to be playing today, but they didn't know why. So of course I followed up with the Seoul Dynasty and talked to them about the lack of Zumba, and they actually told me that he's not ill, he's suffering from a minor wrist injury, and he will be resting all week. So Zephyr has to step it up tonight. Let's see how he will do on map number 4. Are you guys ready? Wonderful, so let's head back to our casters.
Minor wrist injury happens a lot with gamers as well. The strain is very, very common as well. Maybe too much patty cake with the other Seoul guys, that happens. But, I mean, we already... Don't give me that. You can't tell me you haven't seen it. What, don't you had that Long Island, bro?
Nah.
You guys too busy in your fancy cars? Get
Yeah. We didn't do that.
It happens. So we're going to take a deep dive into the last map here. Route 66, still a chance here for the Fuel to actually, tie up this series, which they'd like to do.
Yeah, and they'll keep Rascal in the game. No substitutions on both sides, so Wakid will stay in. You think that they saw something that worked with Junkrat, with a little bit more of an aggressive Dallas Fuel coming in tonight. Rascal, very good Genji for this map. They want to dive. Also a very talented Sombra player as well.
Important to note, there's a heck of a lot he brings to this team. We thought he'd be playing the main when we saw it come out on the pool there. So it's one thing that we haven't really, I mean, I think it was Taimu who said it maybe a couple months ago. You know, finally, we feel like we're getting into a position where we can play everything. Yep. You know, and that wasn't quite true at the time, as we saw, with certain players exiting the lineup and such. But now, perhaps we have that again. Perhaps we have that in earnest as we fly through the map here, where Rascal, such a jack of all trades, Effect really delivers on the hit scan role. Although his Widowmaker was crushed by Fletter in the previous map.
And look, I mean, they have 3 really good Widowmaker players in their roster. They AKM, Effect, and Taimu. I think it'll be a while, but you know, you have to figure out a way to work these players in, right?
I'll put this on record. Dylan will probably get upset at me for this after, but I honestly think the AKM 76 is way better than his Widow. I haven't been very convinced by his Widow so far this stage. Okay. I think it's been poor. So that's, you know, hang me on high for that one. You know, Effect.
I'm sure you'll be hearing from AKM.
Oh, you'll let me know. Yeah. He's like a head shorter than me. It's fine. Doesn't scare me. We'll jump in here. Dallas Fuel on the attack mat. We're gonna have OG with the customary Sonic Arrow just to check the train card, and then I'll switch over. Genji Tracer dive.
So I wonder how much they practice this. Obviously, you know, OG, new to the roster. He's been here a bit though, so they could have been, you know, practicing with him towards the end of stage 2. So Bleda will be all the way in the back on Widowmaker. See how they put pressure on him.
Well, that's the question. Are they even going to do that? And Effect is already wrapped around. You can actually see a glimpse of him there right on the edge. So he's going to jump in and make the pincer. Great dive. That setup on that from the Dallas Fuel was really good. They deal with Flatter and Mirror's already down, so this fight, by all intents and purposes, is over. As long as I keep that payload moving, the Dallas Fuel are going to be on the roll to that second phase.
And this is a composition for the Dallas Fuel that, you know, the one thing they never had, or up until this point, is like a really strong dive to fall back on, right? They had a lot of really nice strategies with different things with like triple tank and timing with Roadhog and
kind of became gimmicky after a while though.
And now you have something you can definitely go back to time and time again that can work. And
default?
Look, it's going to be the point A taken as Soul's unable to get back out and challenge it. Flutter will fall. If we came into the Overwatch League, and let's say this is the Dallas Fuel roster, and we said they had the possibility to have an Effect and Rascal Tracer Genji combination, you would have ranked that amongst the top of the league.
Absolutely. Just on paper?
On paper, yeah.
So Flutter switched back to McCree briefly. The reason why is because it's impossible. If they wanted to recontest that point A, it's impossible for Widow to get any decent sight lines. You may as well switch to McCree and get aggressive and try and flash people out, get some burst potential. So he's back to the Widow. Rascal jumps in straight on top of an enemy Winston though. You can see the mirror gap over the definitely worth it. And OG is now going to dive in with a Primal Rage to still cause some problems. That Riptide didn't really claim anything, but the payload's not moving for the time being. So they win out on this fight. It's not all bad at all. Gambler's way up in the skybox right now. Flatter could be in deep trouble. That's a pulse bomb there. Can Miro get away? No! J-Hog and Flatter both fall, and the bloody thing was stuck to Miro. Essentially 2 for 1, or even more than that for Effect. And another 1 fight for Dallas Fuel. So they are motoring.
So that goes back to what I was talking about on Volskaya when they didn't have that Genji to force out those support ults. Right there, Rascal goes up into the sky going after Gambler, and then when he comes back towards the ground, Jaehong uses his Transcendence to stay alive. Then Dallas Fuel uses both of their support ultimates just a little bit later, and they're able to get that Valkyrie up in the sky and provide some more healing onto OG and Mickey as they dove in.
Zephyr needs to get healing now. He's getting chunked down. He had to go in on his own, but that's not going to happen. He has a self-destruct, so that's cool. Discord orb on the mini Diva, and yeah, it doesn't get back in his mech. Rascal makes sure of that. Effect now chasing down Wakid. Flatter up on the high ground, but he can't really peek himself out the door because Rascal's going to be waiting for him there. And they get that second checkpoint. 5 minutes on the clock. This is lightning fast stuff from the Dallas Fuel. They've not lost a fight thus far, and they're not looking like they're gonna.
It has been 15-1 in terms of actual kills.
The Soul have got 1 kill.
Soul has 1 kill.
It's Jaehong. That's rough.
As another blade on the table here for Rascal. This has been a lights-out attack from the Dallas Fuel this far.
I think Unco sprayed Los Angeles Valiant on the payload as well. That's quite amusing. Wiki take it down. Rascal with that Dragon Blade. Oh, here's a Deadeye and he breaks line of sight immediately, but OGE wasn't lucky or fast enough. Yeah, brought back to life, so that's a worthwhile trade, right? It's not even an ultimate ability anymore to get that res. Mickey goes in deep for Wiki. Rascal gets good healing from Harry Hook and an Orb of Harmony from Unco. Great coordination from the supports to keep this key player up on his feet. But now Rascal really will just be poking from mid to long range and going in for the finish. That was amazing from Jayhong to do with OGE, but Rascal was there to follow up. Effect finds Zephyr. Payload's still moving, by the way. It's Unco and Harry Hook are shepherding it towards the end of the map. 4 minutes. Fletter looking very low on HP. Mickey staying alive. Look at the healing. Look where that Mercy Beam is going, by the way. This is incredible stuff from Harry Hook. Straight to Rascal as soon as he jumps in. And Soul are in disarray for the most part. They may have a chance to come back in here, Matt, but it's going to be rough.
It'll be both support ults used by the Dallas Fuel. Miro using Primal Rage, just forcing people around. It'll be Rascal using his Dragon Blade, just searching for players, also trying to dodge the Riptire. The Riptire goes up to the high ground, takes out Rascal, but the payload still close to the end. Dallas Fuel still with players alive.
Oh, Doomfist is in, and that's the Transcendence being brought by Jayhong. Mickey is knocked skyward, but he's still being pocketed by Harry Hook this entire time. Wiki tries to close the gap, but the Rocket Punch doesn't knock anyone up against the wall. So he doesn't get the extra damage or instant burst. Look at this dive. Look how quickly. Look how aggressive Dallas Fuel have been now with this different setup.
You gotta love it if you're a Fuel fan, right? This is what you've been wanting to see for a while.
Absolutely. Been hoping for this aggression. Zephyr eats a pulse bomb, and it will mean his demeching. Wiki's hoping to get another pin with a rocket punch, but he uses it to back away instead. Self-destruct on the point. Mickey and Effector right there. Miro just trying to get some damage on towards Rascal and force him away from his backline, but Wiki is definitely looking like he's struggling. Knocked away. Gambler's low on HP, and OGE comes through with a bigger punch than Doomfist could muster. Primal Rage. You heard it here first. It beats the gauntlet. And now Zephyr being body blocked for the most part off the payload. Mickey knocks him away. Now the jump in from Fletter working around the side. The Transcendence here for the Dallas Fuel. This is going to make it all too easy to finish this off and just stay alive. It's only Gambler and Wikid right now. And even the Doomfist can't get a pick through that healing. 2 minutes 30 on the clock. That's a very good number if you're a Dallas Fuel fan. Excellent attack. Excellent dive. The execution, stellar.
Soul finishes with 6 kills. 34-6. In that first half. That guy making a big difference here for the Dallas Fuel. You can see already. I mean, you know, those dives just so well coordinated with Effect and Rascal. I remember like going into stage 3, I was like, oh, are they gonna keep this roster? Are you gonna keep Effect and Rascal on the same team? It's like, yeah, you may want to try that out a little bit longer. It's you see the potential with them, right? I mean, they have the potential to be one of the, I mean, even their DPS core as a whole, right? They just have so many talented players. It's just, if you figure it out, that's what it looks like if you figure it out.
Mickey's received a lot of criticism lately.
Yeah.
From fans and sort of detractors alike. 11 final blows, 21 eliminations, 0 deaths in that round.
Well, look, I mean, it's a much different diva. Like when we were talking about Mickey is like one of the best divas like in the world, right? Much different, longer defense matrix, just the play style. Much different, but I think to the point that you've been making, Mitch, throughout the series, is that like, has he really had a fair go throughout Overwatch League thus far? Playing with a stable roster, with a stable main tank, with a dedicated strategy, like, not really. I mean, none of these guys have.
I mean, your fates as an off-tank are often tied to those of your main tank. Yeah, I see what you two are getting at. Yes, Unco, we get the joke. Are you really doing that? You're not hitting your crouch key over that icon.
I love how Unco's just looking at it.
No, you're not.
Shaking their head. Great.
Okay. A lot of head shaking, some nodding. It's quite a language these two are communicating. I mean, look, you've got one man who's a primary French speaker, one man who's a primary Korean speaker, so perhaps how they communicate. Not sure what to make of that one. Sorry, Noah Winston. I guess you're still going to get memed on for the time being, bro. Here comes the Seoul Dynasty out of the gates. Now, Jayhong switching, of course, off. But we have a Junkrat and Widowmaker combo here. Very indirect damage in Junkrat, very direct damage in Widow, about as direct as a sledgehammer to the face during plastic surgery. I think you get the idea.
And I think what Dallas is trying to do here, Mitch, is they're just trying to pressure Fleta as much as possible. Right now, Fleta's sitting with 8 deaths. That would be the most on Seoul Dynasty. You're just sending so many bodies at him, right? First it's Effect who's putting down some damage. Then it's Rascal coming in. Then it's Mickey coming from the opposite side. As they are forcing Seoul Dynasty back into their spawn.
Yeah. A lot of aggression there. You can see the Rascal will make sure he cleans up Jayhong as well.
the rest of Seoul are already sort of running for the heels. Let's see how this went down. Miro jumped in immediately, but look at Fletter's health bar. I see he comes off the edge. Mechanical error, but Fletter would have died regardless.
Nah, he knew they had to reset. He was just getting out of
Yeah,
there.
perhaps he was just... Well, I mean, no one had died at that point. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
He foresaw it coming.
The prophet, the real prophet.
Yeah, the real prophet Miro.
Effect around the corner. I hear a Dragon Blade. Nope. Rascal gets completely dunked there. Slides into one of the abandoned train carts, and now Dallas Fuel full back pedal mode. Fletter, though, now has position. He's got safety. Guess what? Enemy Genji's dead. I like what Effect's doing here. He's trying to recover this situation by flanking, but Fletter knows it. He was looking for Effect in the back line, and Jaehong domed him.
Might have another fight here. Here, Dallas.
We've
Seems
had
like
3 Dallas players back up. I think some Rascals there. Yes,
They're
you will have
gonna
another
go-
fight.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, Mickey could launch a self-destruct over the top, and like OG could jump
Infosight.
in here, but do you have Infosight?
Last person out the door is dead, probably, because Fletter's going to see them. Oh, okay! Switch tries to Riptire. My man's got cojones. Let's see what else he can do, though. Not a lot. Wakid turns him into smithereens there. Remote Mind thrown in, but that's the pulse bomb Effect was looking for beforehand. Has found Jaehong this time. Can the Fuel salvage this fight? It looks like there might be a big YES. They're out there, getting the juice. Zephyr getting desuited, now being jumped upon, and it's just Miro trying to give Harry Hook a bit of a tickle fight. Not interested, of course.
Dude, I really like what OG has been doing in this match.
I like this whole thing, Matt. I like all this.
So he comes over the top of Big Girls, jumps right onto Fleta, forces Fleta like all the way back around the corner, and then Fleta probably thinks he's going to be chased, right? He jumps right down onto Gambler, takes Gambler out, then pops Primal Rage to get back to Fleta, forces him back yet again.
OG.
It's crazy to think about too, like how much of their remaining Overwatch League season depends on his play, right? Like if it doesn't go well, who knows what they would be doing right now.
Mickey not able to hang around in this fight. He was desuited, and Jaehong's pushing very deep with that Transcendence. That's going to allow Miro to jump in and make quick work out of Harry Hook. The Effect there. Pulse Bomb, I think he was trying to get one key with that one. It's hard to say.
I actually believe it gets reflected by Fleta.
Ah, very nice.
Yeah.
Why you
Fleta-
made the big bust, Matt.
Yeah, you can hear the Genji voice line right back at you. Sends it right back at Effect.
I like it.
Pulse Bomb does get deflected there. It doesn't pick up anything, but point A is taken there by Seoul Dynasty. They had to invest a lot of ultimates to do it, right? I mean, they don't have any ultimates right now. You're going to have belated Transcendence. You could play like right at this choke if you wanted to, if you're the Dallas Fuel.
Let's try and dive on them and make sure that the Seoul Dynasty have to work through these very narrow corridors and can't sort of spread out, cover their backline as well as they'd like. Okay, I hear a Dragon Blade. This time Master's going to try it. Round 2, perhaps. Zephyr low. He'll try and get at least something for it. No, because behind the hulking body of the Diva was Jaehong. Sent him some orbs, but OGE gets in there. He ain't afraid to put his body on the line, and it worked this time. 3 kills for him.
And Unko's able to win a big one-on-one against Fleta, not forcing out his Transcendence. Unko stays there, fights him, able to win it there.
It feels
the backside
eerily
of that.
quiet now after so much fighting around that first point.
Yeah.
5 ultimates for the Dallas Fuel. Jaehong probably have a Transcendence in this next fight, depending on what the setup looks like. Last was Dragon Blade. I mean, didn't get much for it. Didn't force a trans necessarily. It's not the end of the world. It's not really what we consider a super high value ultimate in the grand scheme of things. So, however, the Pulse Bomb and Effect's hands may actually be beautiful. Miro's going to get taken down. There's no way he's going to survive that 400 damage straight to the noggin. He already had taken a little bit of poke to start that off. Fleta trying to dodge around Effect. Doesn't really want to go up against a Tracer in a 1v1, and you can sort of see why.
And this is a good setup, even if Dallas Fuel loses it in the next fight, because Seoul is going to feel pressured at some point to start using some of these ultimates to get the payload moving again, which is then going to give Dallas a opportunity towards the end, right? Like, let's say for argument's sake, Seoul decides to use some ultimates here. They start moving the payload. We get to like a 45-second point in the game where they're going towards point B. Then you'll have ultimates online for the Dallas Fuel, and you have a good opportunity to just end it in one fight.
So Fleta now has a Discord orb on him, so he's been spotted out. You can see OGE, like catnip, trying to chase down the man who he probably suspects has that Dragon Blade.
Oh, they know he has it. I mean, he's been holding on to it a very long time now.
That's right. He's not really sure how to commit to this one at this stage. You can see the Dallas Fuel have actually pushed very far forward, so Fleta's probably not feeling empowered to do too much right now. With Gambler down, the Lucio missing, he was the one who actually had the sound barrier. Jaehong has gone for that Transcendence, but Fleta hasn't had a good chance to use a blade. He's done.
Just look how annoying they're being with Fleta. They're just sending Rascal up at him.
They don't give him
some
any time
shots
alone.
and then the next thing, like Rascal dashes away, and then OGE comes through, and then Effect a few shots. It just doesn't give Flood a good opportunity to decide what he wants to do, because there's so many different people coming at him from all different angles.
And in the meantime, no one can peel for Fled or try and force away these harassers because they're trying to keep the backline of Soul alive.
Effect is just running like a madman.
Effect, again, just going nuts. I mean, they should have predicted against, or they probably did predict against the Fuel this time around, so maybe that's it. Okay, Wakit's gone back to the Junkrat after the last couple of fights. He hasn't felt good on the Tracer. Here's that sound barrier that Gambler didn't get to use last fight. But Rascal's got a blade, as does Fledder, who's already down to half HP. Let's see how this one transpires, Matt. We're going to see the jump in. Mickey gets desuited early. Self-destruct, actually.
They just need to keep Unko alive, where he doesn't use that Transcendence, because they're trying to get Transcendence out before Fleta uses his own Dragon Blade.
Rascal's Dragon Blade there does a heck of a lot of good work at just working down the big HP pools of the tanks of Soul Dynasty. In fact, he hits a Pulse Bomb on Fleta. Are you kidding me? That's gross! And now we're going to have ourselves a map 5. We can't ask for much more there. This Dallas Fuel team, I would say exceeding expectations on their first showing with OGE. They are doing everything right that they need to be able to get a win against this kind of team. And Effect might actually know what it feels like to smile again.
And you're starting to see a lot of these players start to play well with each other. That time, Harry Hook just pockets Unko through Miro's Primal Rage. Unko doesn't use Transcendence. Whatever happens, Fleta never uses his Dragon Blade towards the end there.
Never feels confident, perhaps. Never feels like he has a good opportunity to clean up a fight. Perhaps Soul lacked the mental bandwidth to keep him topped up and protected enough. Either way, it's a map 5 around the corner. Just the way to finish the day.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network.
所有人快穿过缺口，我们该走了。我们得立刻出发，前往撤离点。
我们还真是低调。
所有人快穿过缺口，我们该走了。我们得立刻出发，前往撤离点。
我们还真是低调。
So, against what some might say was the odds, Dallas Fuel have succeeded to take this series to a 5th map. And control is great because we got to see a glimpse of the Genji Tracer dive, the combo we hope to see with Rascal in effect. Didn't look great for them on Shrine, didn't really work out all that well. Obviously, they ultimately lost Nepal. But we'll see if that'll be the case as we come around to Oasis, as it's Munchkin coming in for Wiki.
Yeah, no changes for the Dallas Fuel, but both of these teams, Mitch, 1-1 in the stage thus far. You look at them, pretty even across the board. These matchups have always been tough between these two teams, but downstairs talking with Brent, like, oh, who do you think will make the playoffs? Whatnot. Never really kind of considered Dallas. If that's how they look with this lineup, and they're able to put that type of dive together with probably limited practice with OGE, you figure it only gets better, right? I think you don't know, maybe it was Seagull the idea of the off tank, or is it Mickey? I think that one is something for them to decide moving forward. I think Seagull, I think they announced not playing today, personal reasons, whatnot, but
I mean, here's the thing, right?
It's a roster that could turn it around in the stages.
OGE was here, but he was suspended from playing, right? That's publicly known. But you can't scrim with the guy. You can't because there's no point. You had Mickey moving into a main tank role, and you had to get him acclimatized to it. I don't really think that you could have spent much on time.
There's definitely a point to scrim with him. That's where I would disagree, because you're playing with Mickey and Seagull as your tanks for 2 games.
At this point, like you're
one of them's against
Shanghai wins of
Shanghai?
the season. I don't know. I really feel like if you're moving a tank from an off, if you're putting someone in an off role, you probably need to give them as much scrim time as possible. I'm sure we had OG play a little bit, maybe a little bit of scrimming, but I wonder how much more Dallas can grow from having that time of, properly scrimming with OGE, if that wasn't the case. I'm sure someone, I'm sure Kaiko or Tasmo could confirm that. We can ask him later. But.
Yeah, I remember seeing OGE play a decent amount of ranked with Custa. Fortunately, Custa not on the roster once he gets there, but
it's not.
He was very vocal from when I saw him play during that. Definitely, I think providing a voice for this team. It's very difficult to play and not have somebody kind of just tell you what you need to do as a roster. Rascal will be playing Sombra here. When you play Sombra, you really like to play Unko on Moira, and then Fleto will be playing McCree. So it seems like they still want to keep putting this pressure on Dallas. It's going to be a little bit of a variation of that dive with Moira and Sombra coming in.
I like it. Mickey holding the door. I wonder if he DJs as well. Just trying to make sure that Soul can't really get through. Look at the damage. So when you have these situations, you can't see the whole team. Check the health bars. You can see Soul losing out hard, real hard, in fact. Jayhog and Fletter get crushed. And sometimes those war of attrition, back and forth, grind fests, the most interesting to watch. And OGE's coming out with 3. I'm already excited. It just started. OGE's just dominating. 4 final blows for this man. Okay.
He's already at a primal rage. Unko is already at coalescence. We didn't catch it from that POV, but what ends up actually starting that entire fight is Rascal goes behind and hacks Fleta, so he's not able to use the flashbang or roll, and then that's when they start to really push on through because Fleta can't go anywhere.
Kree doesn't like being cornered at all. Even though he's probably used to plenty of last stands in his time. What's Effect looking for here? Probably Fletter, as per usual. Probably sees Dark Effect on the other side of the field. He probably doesn't see the name Fletter. Sees Mortal Nemesis. A couple ultimates were just drawn out of Dallas Fuel there for very little gain, so this might be a little bit of a dangerous spot. They're vulnerable now. Harry might have to go for the sound barrier in a second.
I think you have to save it if you're Harry, especially after you lose your main tank. Fleta does use Deadeye. But now Soul Dynasty, you have both support ults going into the next fight. The Rascal will have this EMP. Maybe you can stall this out a little bit longer. Some good progress made by Dallas here at the start.
Okay, so Harry Hook in a 6v6 opted not to use a sound barrier because I don't think Dallas wanted to commit 2 support ultimates to a fight that they would not.
They knew they were going to be on the losing end of that one.
I dig it. That's fine. They get 56% of capture progress though, which is big.
If they do this right though, and let's say Rascal coming on a flank can get a hack and then Effect finishes off this kill or some kind of combination, and then use an EMP, they may not even have to use the sound barrier coming up.
Maybe it's such an advantage in that sense. Rascal setting up for it. No, he got flashed! Flutter doesn't allow him to use the EMP, and now the Dallas Fuel gonna have to rely on other means to try and win this fight. And I don't think that's gonna be possible. Even OGE, as scary as he's been already in this map, just to get the heck out of nope. The only place you're heading back to is spawn.
Not ideal for the Dallas Fuel, but they do get Gambler to use Valkyrie to keep Jae-Hung alive, so now just Transcendence for Seoul Dynasty available. You know, EMP can be devastating to a Zenyatta.
I mean, he won't have a chance to use
Yeah.
Transcend straight up. Jaehong, hit Q, my friend.
Oh!
I like it. He hit Rascal and revealed him. Okay, but they've still
But he
they've
uses
forced it out.
Transcendence, yeah.
And there's no EMP being used by Rascal. So while I dig that he got it preemptively, it still counts as a forced ultimate. Okay, Miro and Zephyr were hacked there, so that's pretty good. Fletted sneaking in, sliding up in that one. Doesn't find anything, no. And Dallas Fuel starting this fight off really nicely. So the DPS core now have to respond, but Munchkin's already been taken down. Again, a hack that includes both of the enemy's tanks is good enough in many cases, because they're the most useless heroes without abilities.
And he got Munchkin in it as well, so Munchkin couldn't come on the flank with Tracer and try and finish those players off. The tanks for Seoul Dynasty were playing so close to that initial choke because they were going to take damage, then jump out, and then let them onto the point, whatnot. But once they get EMP, they can't even get out. So they're just free kills there for Dallas Fuel.
Things that need to happen. Effect probably hits a big pulse bomb. It's got to be a well-timed coalescence. And OG needs to be able to stall out here if Dallas Fuel want to win the round. Pulse bomb? No. First condition not satisfied. Probably Effect's probably pretty unsatisfied with that himself. But Rascal's found Flutter, which is a real big turnaround. Gamble's probably hoping to get a chance to resurrect the McCree, but Effect didn't really give him the space to do so. A coalescence coming straight through here. It's over 9,000! Mickey gets the self-destruct with 2! They've both fallen, and Jaehong, despite having Transcendence, has to back away from the point. Now we're in overtime, and it's just Miro. He will use the Primal Rage, most likely to stay alive, but Gambler's going to be there with the Valkyrie. Going to be a little bit of extra healing, and that's the Primal Rage now.
He gets hacked during his Valkyrie, though, so has to go all the way back there, just trying to stay alive. Now he makes it back towards the point. You'll have 4 members for the Dallas Fuel still here. They're going to use Sound Barrier, trying to engage. It's going to be Miro who takes that Rascal at the beginning.
Stuck. That's a big one. Effect getting 2 kills for the fight, but the rest of his team are falling in droves. Unco's found Jaehong and Gambler. Will he be able to hang on? One more melee. Effect gets the kill. Seoul Dynasty, though, took control of the point. In the meantime, it's a 2v2. Zephyr, Munchkin, Effect, and Unco going head-to-head. It's going to be tough for Effect to break through that Diva. And now the rest of the teams are filtering back onto the point. Rascal has returned. Miro and Mickey are both there. This is where it gets interesting. Effect really needed to stay alive there.
It's going to be 99 at 99 here in just a second. So we will see Doomfist come out here for Fleta. He's able to demech Mickey as things are starting to go in favor of Seoul Dynasty, Mitch.
It's a 6v5 fight, and Gambler's going big. He's found himself 2 kills in the last couple of seconds. His Lucio was always one of his most impressive roles. And now Fleta getting pretty close there to an orbital strike. I know that's not what it's called, but Effect, it's pulled out. Pulse bomb there. Munchkin, great effort from Seoul. They stepped up huge in those last few moments. Little bro in the front row, definitely happy about that one. I don't blame him. Very, very tight end to that round.
Now, when it's that 2v2 scenario where it's Unco and Effect, and I believe it's Zephyr and Munchkin, he just needed Effect to stay alive there. He falls there at the final few seconds, and that just gives that 1 player advantage to Seoul Dynasty coming off spawn.
Yeah, that is 6v5. See how quickly that can be exacerbated. It's tough. Timing is so difficult in those tense situations, and that's also a map where we see a lot of stalling happen very frequently.
Yeah.
This next one,
I love
not so much.
this that's coming out. So, triple tank with Doomfist. This is a throwback to what NA Contender Season 1. Kind of the comp you were going for. Then once Doomfist gets nerfed, it's actually the comp that we see Dallas Fuel running, which became quite prominent.
The response to it.
Yeah, it's a very slow comp, reliant on picks. Seoul Dynasty doesn't like what they see, they're going to back out.
Yeah, I mean, it's impossible to, it was not pleasant to play Doomfist into any sort of
Junkrat.
Scam pressure.
Yeah.
Junkrat who can knock you away. He spent a lot of time airborne as Doomfist, so it is just keep shooting for a McCree. So they're going to push back in. Let us switch to the Junkrat now, which is obviously a great pick for this map. Highly advised for those of you trying to do it in solo queue. Both Junkrats find the first picks, and they're both Reinhardts to fall to their hands. So now, no shields, no big rectangle holders standing on the point anymore. Down to the DPS and Mickey. Missing the hook on Zephyr.
OGE does die, though, on the Dallas Fuel side of the map, so they're able to get that resurrection from around the wall onto him. So it'll be Dallas Fuel in control of the point first.
Yeah, Dallas Fuel are playing the double tank sort of version of this composition, whereas Seoul Dynasty are still persisting and playing the triple tank setup now. Last time I saw Munchkin on Zaya was King's Row, and that was in obviously the rotation last stage. It was okay.
Well, we saw Munchkin on Zarya, and then the next time we saw them play it, it was Zunba who played Zarya, and then it was Munchkin who played Diva.
Yeah, I mean, Zunba obviously was representative of South Korea in the World Cup. That first year we had it, he played Zaya, and it was just unbelievable. Couldn't believe what he could do. So Fleta deals with Rascal and his Riptide. That's a nice little 2-for-1. That's going to keep the Seoul Dynasty nice and healthy as this fight continues. Deadeye for Effect is going to be very hard to connect, and you can see that he didn't get anything from it. With the Shield of Miro in the way, plus the bubble given by Munchkin, all this damage mitigation available to the Seoul Dynasty. They don't have a lot of damage in some senses, but they do have mitigation. Very important now.
Oh, it's a 4-man shatter from OG, but nobody there to follow it up. Mickey, though, does use a whole hog coming from the side. Be a self-destruct that goes into the sky from Zephyr. The point is flipped.
Yeah, it's still a good start for the Dallas Fuel, Matt, regardless losing this fight or not. We came back on first-person view to Zephyr, who had been knocked to the ground. One look at the minimap told us that there were 4 people stunned from that Earth Shatter. Nicely done. But Dallas had already lost their Junkrat there, and Effect was not in a position to follow up.
See if Dallas decides to make any changes off of this. It seems like, at least for now, it's what they're going to continue to run with.
What do you think about Farah into this comp? Are you giving Munchkin too much charge? If Rascal would play?
Well, I mean, if you're worried about giving too much charge with Farah, I assume you're worried about giving too much charge with Junkrat as well.
All right, smart ass, fair enough.
Munchkin coming in with a Graviton. Everyone caught up in it. And yeah, easy fight win for the Seoul Dynasty. They had to use that ultimate there, and Dallas aren't too worried yet. They probably expect to lose that fight against the Graviton Surge, but they come back in with a couple fancy ultimates. I mean, that's kind of, Matt, the advantage that Seoul bring into this one is they do have a Graviton available to them, which is pretty nasty and definitely a fight winner in its own right if used properly.
Yeah, it's a guaranteed fight, pretty much. So it'll be a Riptire that comes out from Rascal. So you're trying to have this Riptire be the initiator. Maybe he gets J-Hung in the back.
Oh, gets nothing. Fleta throws a remote mine and gets rid of it. So double support ults used simultaneously for the Seoul Dynasty. I have to wonder about that one. Coalescence doesn't do a heck of a lot as Seoul had already backed away and we're very spread laterally and not linearly. Give him great targets. Miro wants a fat Earth Shatter here. I know he's looking for it. OGE shields looking low. Clever though, Dallas back away from the point where the Reinhardt shield is. Oh, he's caught Rascal though, Matt. It may not matter now. Miro steps forward. Bit of speed boost from Gambler. Graviton Surge there, and it's 2-for-1 with a swing at a hammer. All too easy. Miro, the blunt object and the orchestrator of Dallas's woes right now.
Rascal does go over to Farah here, so you're going to try and get to the point.
2 ticks. This could be over. Can Dallas even get back to the point?
There.
It's an overtime. OG yet to be charged, and all of a sudden, the Dallas Fuel have come to life. They get a 4-for-none fight. A trade at just the last moment. Unbelievable.
So Unco goes on a flank. Somehow is sent, he's able to stay alive, contest the point. Harry Hook uses his Valkyrie, basically flies like across half of the map, able to get to him there.
Effect is struggling map in this map.
Nuts.
As good as fight that was from Unco in the setup there. Effect only has 4 final blows on that McCree. Completely nullified. Needs to be a change here. Miro again, we talked about that Earth Shatter, he'd love to use it. Harry Hook's caught, put up against the wall. That's not the kind of street art Banksy would put up. I'll give you the big tip. It's going to be the Transcendence thrown in here. Miro trying to step back. Oh no, we can't get the Earth Shatter. He's forced to drive it into his shield. The whole hog kept him off his feet, and of course, Earth Shatter does not activate unless he's touching the ground. Good turnaround for Dallas, but will it be enough? Hook is blocked out. Miro brings up the shield at just the right time, and now it's only Mickey. Harry Hook, in effect, just walked back onto the point, but the sound barrier for Seoul is going to make it easier to stave off these couple interlopers. Barrage from above gets one before Fleto does get protected by the defense matrix. Mickey found Gambler, though. The threat and distract generated by that Farah barrage might have made the difference.
It's going to be a Riptire, though, coming in from Mukid. This could be the game ender here. OG does use his Earth Shatter. Gets taken out. It's going to be Seoul Dynasty who flips the point back. Dallas Fuel has to touch.
Steady as she goes. Effect is trying to dip his toe in the water, but no, he's pushed away. And that was the chance for the Fuel to finally get a win against Seoul, but no, it's not going to be today. Seoul Dynasty bring it back from the brink after, frankly, a very poor showing on Route 66. They demonstrate to us multiple compositions, a bit of a throwback. Triple tank setup works beautifully for them in Fleta. Starts to kick butt on that Junkrat.
Seoul barely escapes with this window, Mitch. Caught a glimpse of it. Harry Hook looked pretty devastated on the other side, just throwing his hands up on his head. As Dallas Fuel gave it all today, man. But I tell you what, this is a Dallas Fuel team with OG, looks completely different. Rascal in the lineup as well. They look tremendous today. I think if this is the lineup you see going forward, and this is how they play, you're going to start to see a lot more wins.
The future looks bright. definitely for the Dallas Fuel now. It's been a little bit of a while since people have been saying that en masse. Seoul Dynasty as well, definitely things to be improved upon here. They're mixing that lineup up. They're looking to find the perfect equation. But Matt, that's going to be all for us today. Let's head it over the desk and have the one break this one down.
Thank you so much. Don't go very far, fellas. Real quick, though, can we get a big round of applause for the Seoul Dynasty and Dallas Fuel? Seoul gets the win, but Dallas is back in another great series between these two teams. Before we go any further, though, we need to hit something that was said earlier in the broadcast. I'm Puckett. We got the whole desk. We got Johnny. We've got Sideshow. And, fellas, we have some awesome community members. One of them goes by the name of Uber Shouts Says. And there was a special tweet today that came out. Uber Shout says,
Junkrat's Junkrat's very good at killing people when he can't see them. It's kind of like pin the tail on a donkey, except it's a grenade and you're sticking it on the other team's nose. What a ridiculous comment from
Thank
Uber.
you, Mitch.
Thank you. Just
beautiful
an
commentary.
incredible analogy.
some of his best work.
What's wrong with that?
I like it.
Just and my amazing Australian accent, which was absolutely
I
not
appreciated
Australian
that, Sideshow. I thought it was great.
Yeah, thanks,
That
man.
was worse than my British accent, that's for sure. What's wrong with that, by the way? Think about it, right? It's actually, I said stick grenade up the nose. That account's pretty good, but because I speak so fast and clearly he's not Australian, he doesn't quite get it all.
You could. Do you want to try that in a party game? Are you going to play pin the grenade on somebody's nose?
Can I
think that sounds like a very
Can I
fun
stick the
party
fist
game.
in your ear, bro, instead?
No, I ain't showing up to this party.
All right,
I'm out.
fellas. Thank you very much. Make sure you unfollow Uber Shouts and follow Uber Shouts Says after this show. Let's keep it on the games, though, because this was a back-and-forth series all the way through. Dallas holding strong on Numbani made it a 1-1 game coming into the second half. Now, as the second half loaded up, we had one player to keep our eye on, and that, of course, was Effect, the Tracer player from the Dallas Fuel. What were some of the numbers that you were looking at?
Yeah, so if we can bring up the numbers of Effect's kind of average gameplay. So this is just his averages. And the point that I want to highlight here is he's on the 11th best team in the league. And he is still putting up stats that are second, third, first, whacking pulse bombs onto people and getting kills, huge amounts of solo kills. His hero damage is off the charts, and this is some of the potential that is there in the Dallas Fuel. And this goes for a lot of their players that are throughout the roster. So if they can click together, they have all the individual skill that they could possibly want to be able to elevate themselves back up to that level. And so when you see the pieces working, they're able to bring the Seoul Dynasty almost to their knees. They have everything they need. They just have to get that teamwork going, and we saw glimmers of it today.
You thought it could happen. Game 3 was Control. Control, always a great opportunity to show off your individual skill. As we went to Nepal, though, this one went back and forth. They went to a third round. The May came out.
We saw the May, but most importantly, Flera's Widowmaker was absolutely insane. He was over 70% critical hit accuracy for a while.
That is unreal.
That's more than any of ours normal weapon accuracy, and he hit headshots. Absolutely insane stuff. So yes, they got the win on Nepal, but then we got to Route 66, and this is where Rascal came out with the Genji and synced up with OG.
And it was absolutely fantastic. And this is the thing that Dallas Fuel have been missing for so long. Is this aggression, just an instinctive call. They go, OGE syncs up with Rascal, Effects there on the flank. They look so coordinated, and they finish with over 3 minutes on the clock. This is a fantastic time to put on Route 66 against the Seoul Dynasty.
And you mentioned kind of after watching Volskaya, it felt like OG and Mickey weren't always on the same page. I felt like on Route 66, the tank duo is working together much better.
Yeah, because you're playing the Genji, right? So you're going even further beyond, and then Mickey is gonna sync up with you, because there's no like, oh, we need to go pretty far, but not too far, so we kind of want to be in between, and then you lose the synergy between the two. But if you say, hey, we're playing a Genji, go to the back line, Mickey knows where it's going. So
now, with this Dallas playing ultra strong on defense today because they stopped Seoul short of point B on Numbani, now they stop them short of point B on Route 66.
Yeah, I think so, because they were so good at applying pressure onto Seoul Dynasty, so they couldn't really get through the choke points onto point B. And so I think it played into the strength of the hard dives coming out of the Dallas Fuel, because they played so aggressive, they put pressure onto the Seoul Dynasty, and Seoul Dynasty couldn't really get onto their game on Roost.
And the big person for me coming out from the Dallas field that has enabled all of this is OGE. And comparing his stats on Route 66 to Miro's, Miro is normally one of the safest tanks in the league. And OGE had less than half the amount of deaths, was still able to put up 3 times the amount of final blows and 33 eliminations compared to 6. Miro and the Seoul Dynasty were trying to play a peel-heavy style, pretty defensive, played the Junkrat. Nothing was working out for them. They don't really understand how to play that style at the moment, whereas the Dallas Fuel were playing that aggression to a T. They were playing
hey, now, I gotta look out for my tank mains, okay? They were playing around OGE, so we expect him to get a lot of eliminations, get in there. Meanwhile, they don't play around Miro, so, you know, you can't put that pressure onto Miro. The stats look bad because Fleta popped off.
All right, good points there, Johnny. But at the end of it all, it was Miro who was swinging the hammer on the main stage.
That was hilarious.
Is this a hammer? I think that's what that move was. All right, let's show you the hammer. It came out in Game 5. This was the difference maker. Game 5 tiebreaker map goes to Oasis. And Johnny, you said that the first map not nearly as exciting as when the Reinhardts came out for you.
I was popping off on the desk. I was loving the Reinhardt action. I was a bit surprised that we saw a lot of Sombra and a lot of McCree here. I was thinking maybe you see this Pharah here. Great counter to the Sombra and the Tracer. And yeah, then we see the Doomfist come out to contest the Sombra. Maybe because it was towards the end of the game. But this is what I love! Yes! What a charge.
And
Absolutely love this.
OGE is no coward when it comes to the Reinhardt plays. He was getting straight in there. But Miro was going toe-to-toe with him. Miro's not somebody we normally think of as like a world-class Reinhardt, but I think he really does have a Rein that's able to go toe-to-toe with a lot of
I mean, the charge he got onto Harry Hook towards the end, the Mercy around the corner. Not sure if it's in the compilation here, but...
Look at Unko right here. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Welcome, Dallas Fuel, new support player.
And this is the potential that Dallas have. They were almost able to bring down the Seoul Dynasty here. You got to think, if they have a little more time to work with OGE and face one of the teams that isn't vying for the second place spot, they're probably able to get some wins and start turning this around.
I mean, they got a good couple of games going up against the next couple of teams. So I think these next games are going to determine Dallas Fuel future. They have to win these next coming games. Not sure exactly about the schedule, but it's very easy for them compared to the likes of Seoul Dynasty. So moving forward, we're going to see Dallas Fuel start on a bull run.
Valiant, San Francisco, Houston. Good luck, Dallas Fuel. Moving forward for Seoul, though, they jump up to the #2 spot in big part to the player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP. Who is it? Is it Miro? Nah, Fleta this time around. He impressed from map 1 to map 5. Love watching his Widow today. His Doomfist, though, that's what sold it for me.
Yeah, well, he is impressed from map 1 to map 5, but also just from game 1 in the Overwatch League all the way through to now. Even when his team was slumping, Fleta has consistently put up crazy performances. And this is why you've got to have him in the running for the overall OWL MVP.
These headshots, dude. I mean, in many ways, the times when the Seoul Dynasty hasn't really performed and they've dropped maps to these lesser teams, they really shouldn't. It's because Fleta isn't in the starting lineup. So now, when you finally bring him into the rotation, you know that he's a fantastic player, and he gets these stats 40-7 on the Widowmaker this game. You need this guy in your lineup all the time. Don't sub him out. It's
Absolutely. We're keeping him around all night as well. If you're on twitch.tv, make sure you have the all access pass, because tonight Fleta is answering your questions in the AMA. Also, if you come out to the Blizzard Arena, you can get your autographs. The Valiant will be signing here in the arena, and tomorrow, anyone that comes out gets to sign Sideshow's cast as a special guest. For now, though, we got to wrap the show with our Stage 3 standings after the first day here in Week 2. You can see it's the Seoul Dynasty moving up the ranks. They're currently number 5, but it's the Valiant in charge, a perfect 12-0 record here in the new stage.
And it'll actually be perhaps a little difficult for NYXL to be able to reach that. They've got a pretty tough game against the Boston Uprising, though they are looking a little weaker after the loss of their main DPS player.
And as we take a look at the overall standings, you'll notice Seoul jumping up to that number 2 spot. We said the Valiant could be making some moves. Well, they're at 14-9. They got the map count over top of the Uprising and Fusion. We'll have to see if they can make the jump official with their next match win. Tomorrow's matches, guys, as you take a look at this schedule, which one are you most fired up for?
Philadelphia, Houston.
That's
to me.
So good.
Stage 1, it was a reverse sweep from Philadelphia. Will Jake's Junkrat contest Philadelphia again.
Yeah,
See ya.
very aggressive dive team against a very aggressive anti-dive team. Have to see how that one plays out.
Also keep your eyes on Birdring versus Saya Player in the sniping duel at 6 p.m. But it all gets started with Boston tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific. They get a chance to show off what mistakes can do in the lineup. We want to thank everybody for tuning in. Once again, Fleta AMA coming up on the All Access Pass. For everyone else, we'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific.
You're going to live.
I've got you in my sights.
안녕하세요. 서울 다이너스티의 플레타입니다. 오버워치 리그 올 액세스에서 질문해 주신 것들 답변해 드리도록 하겠습니다.
Hi, I'm Fleta from the Seoul Dynasty. I'm here to answer your questions from the Twitch Overleague All Access Pass. And the first question is from Kobayashi Senpai. Do the expectation to always perform at such a high level get to your head? 항상 잘하시겠는 이런 기대감에 좀 멘탈이 좀 흔들리는 게 있으신가요?
코바야시 센파이님께서 질문 주셨는데 일단 잘하는 거에 대한 부담감도 좀 있지만 사실 부담감보다는 좀 더 제가 잘하게 되는 그런 좀 영향이 더 큰 것 같아요.
Yeah, it's always hard to perform up to other people's expectation, but I tried my best. Go to the second question from Start Smalls. What is your favorite dessert? 제일 좋아하는 간식 후식 있으신가요?
어, 제가 제일 좋아하는 간식은 일단 주로 먹는 초코 과자하고 아이스크림을 좀 주로 먹습니다.
My favorite dessert is chocolate and ice cream, chocolate cookies. And the third question is from the Flame Caliber. What's your general opinion on what role is the most important and which requires the most skills? 그 플레임 칼리버 씨에게 온 질문인데요. 제일 중요한 포지션이 무엇이라고 생각하시고 또 제일 실력이 좋아야 할 수 있는 포지션이 무엇이라고 생각하시는가요?
사실 모든 포지션이 가장 중요하지만 가장 하기 어렵고 지금 메타에서도 그렇고 좀 중요하다고 여겨지는 탱커가 아마 가장 중요한 포지션이 아닌가 싶습니다.
I think all position is really important, but right now the current meta, the tankers are really important. So I think tank is the most important position and also requires a lot of skill to play. Question. It's from Yui. What was the biggest adjustment aside from time zone and language that you had to make coming to America? 유이 씨에서 온 질문인데 언어하고 시차 변경 빼고 미국 생활 정하실 때 제일 힘드신 부분이 무엇인가요?
사실 일단 집에서 잘 안 나가서 다 편하긴 한데 일단 가장 큰 힘든 점이 있다면 좀 가까운 거리도 차로 이동하는 그런 게 좀 힘든 점인 것 같아요.
I don't really leave my house, so there's not much for me to adjust. But I think the biggest thing is I have to drive everywhere here, so that's a bit difficult for me. And we'll go to the next question from Archangel Overwatch OW. What, in your opinion, is the best thing an average player can improve to get better overall? 아크엔젤 OWC한테 오신 질문인데 오버워치 일반 유저들이 잘하려면 어떤 연습을 해야 할까요?
일단 오버워치 일반 유저분들께서 좀 실력을 내시려면 일단은 좀 프로 선수 것도 많이 보는 것도 좋고 자기가 좋아하는 선수 그리고 좀 브리핑, 좀 팀 보이스에서 브리핑도 많이 하고 그러면 일단 자기가 원하는 플레이를 팀원들이 해줄 수 있어서 일단 그게 가장 좋은 것 같아.
I think one of the things you can do to better your skill is definitely watch the pro game, but I think the team coordination and communication is also equally important. And the next question is from Rare Name. What is your favorite Western food chain? 레어네임 씨에서 오신 질문인데 제일 좋아하시는 미국 패스트푸드 음식점이 무엇인가요?
일단 미국에서 가장 좋아하는 패스트푸드 음식점은 제가 햄버거랑 치킨밖에 많이 안 먹어봤는데 거기 어디였더라? 그 치킨집 이름이 생각이 안 난다. 뭐지? 파파존스?
파파이스.
네? 파파이스?
I've had a lot of burgers and chicken here, and I really like them, but my favorite is Popeyes. The next question is from a wild Yami Enters. If you could give me any character in new skin, what would it be? 다음 질문은 Wild Yami Enters 씨에게 오신 질문인데 아무 캐릭터에게 새로운 스킨을 만들어 주시다면 어떤 캐릭터에게 어떤 스킨을 만들어 주시겠어요?
저는 개인적으로 제가 좋아하지는 않지만 시메트라 좀 구체적으로 생각하기보다 시메트라한테 좀 더 좋은 스킬을 좀 만들어줬으면 좋겠어요. 일단 예를 들면 시메트라의 지금 특징이 좀 없는데 좀 그러니까 아직 구체적으로 생각하면 없는데 시메트라를 좀 더 상황 편주나 해줬으면 좋겠어요.
Symmetra is definitely not my favorite, but I think she could use a new skin. And
그냥 전체적으로.
I think she just needs a better skin overall. That was Fleda's answer. And the next question is from Switzerlandia. What hero would you say is your worst hero? 8번. 어떤 캐릭터를 제일 못하신다고 생각하시나요?
일단 제가 가장 못하는 캐릭터는 일단 제가 힐러진에서는 젠야타가 그나마 제일 못하는 것 같고 탱커진에서는 오리사 정도고 그 정도.
I think my worst hero from healers definitely Zenyatta, and from tank heroes, Orisa. And the next question is, from Velventines, which support heroes do you personally prefer and why? 그 다음 질문은 벨벳타인스 씨한테 오신 질문인데 제일 좋아하시는 서포터 캐릭터는 누구인가요?
제가 가장 좋아하는 서포터 캐릭터는 일단 아나고요. 왜냐면 제가 좀 옛날부터도 많이 해왔고 그 좋은 기본 능력치가 좋은데 많이 리그에 나오지 못해서 좀 그렇습니다.
My favorite support hero is Ana. I definitely like to see her more in the league, and I expect to see her more. The next question is from Pretty, and the question is, sorry if this has been asked, do you think Brigitta will have a significant role in the meta? 프리디 씨한테 오신 질문인데 브리게타가 메타에 이번에 좀 영향이 있을지 여쭤봤네요.
일단 브리게타가 돌진 메타의 카운터 영웅으로 나온다고 했는데 일단 지금 메타가 사실 돌진 메타에 특화된 것도 아니라서 일단 영향은 있을 것 같은데 크게 영향을 줄지는 아직 잘 모르겠어요.
I think they put Brigitta to counter the dive meta now, but I'm not too sure what kind of effect she will have in the future meta. The next question is from Sadeva, and he asks, "Hi Fleta, what do you miss about Korea the most?" And 다음 질문은 사데바 씨한테 오신 질문인데 한국 떠나서 제일 그리운 점이 무엇인가요?
일단 한국 떠나서 제일 그리운 점은 일단은 부모님을 뭐 가족을 좀 못 보는 거랑 친구들 못 만나는 게 일단 가장 그리운 점이에요.
The thing I miss most about Korea is definitely my family and friends, and I miss them a lot. And the next question is from MMXF3123. How is living in America so far? Any interesting things you've done? 그리고 다음 질문은 MMXF123 씨에게 오신 질문인데 여태까지 미국 생활이 어떠셨나요? 재밌는 거 뭐 해보신 거 있으신가요?
일단 미국에서 가장 재미있게 한 거는 일단 돌고래를 보러 간 게 있거든요. 그 요트였나? 그걸 좀 타고 돌고래 보는 게 가장 재밌었어요.
We got a yacht and I got to see dolphins, and that's definitely the best, the funnest thing I've done in America so far. The next question is from the Bomba Luigi. Yo Fleta, how did you come up with your player name? 그리고 다음 질문은 bomba 루이지 씨에게서 하는 건데 게임 아이디 플래타 어떻게 만들어지셨나요?
제가 게임 아이디가 만들어진 것은 일단 플레타가 원래 닉네임이 아니었는데 새로운 닉네임으로 시작하려고 인터넷에서 좀 예쁜 영어 닉네임, 멋있는 영어 닉네임을 찾다가 플레타라는 그 당시에는 사용한 사람이 없더라고요. 그래서 그렇게 제가 사용하게 됐어요.
Fleta wasn't originally my nickname, but I wanted to find a word in English that sounds nice, and I came across Fleta, and no one was using it, so I just took that. The next question is from Noshi Gaming. What do you think is lacking with Seoul Dynasty at the moment? And 다음 질문은 노시 게이밍 씨에서 물어보셨는데 서울 다이너스티가 지금 제일 팀으로서 필요한 게 무엇일까요?
서울 다이너스티 저희 팀이 일단 지금 가장 필요한 것은 일단 개개인의 피지컬은 굉장히 좋은데 아직 팀적으로 저희가 더 뭉쳐지지 못한 것 같아서 그거에 중심적으로 연습하고 있어서 그게 좀 더 필요한 지금 부분인 것 같아요.
Every player in the Seoul Dynasty probably has the best mechanical skills overall in the league, but we definitely need to work on team coordination, and that should be something we should improve in future. The next question is from Pen Zaizun. Hi Fleta, can you handle